I'm a little sad. Sad at just how many business owners I speak to who are frustrated by their website that costs them a fortune but isn't producing any return on their investment. So I asked one of Australia's leading website producers how to design a website to boost conversions in any niche. It's episode 581, promising very big returns of the 12-year-old award-winning Small Business Big Marketing podcast.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back to your weekly dose of high conversion marketing. I'm your host, Timbo Reid, and I have an insatiable curiosity for uncovering marketing strategies and ideas that help businesses just like yours to grow exponentially. You, so much more importantly, are a motivated business owner ready to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. And guess what? That is exactly what we do around here. So you are in the right place. If it is your first time, a very, very warm welcome. As per usual, team, there is marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in. Got a very interesting episode for you next week. If you are keen to get exposure for that beautiful business of yours on podcasts around the world, yep, I am interviewing a guy who is a specialist in getting business owners interviews on podcasting, taking you out of obscurity and getting that beautiful business of yours noticed. That's next week. But right now, let's meet one of Australia's leading website producers, Greg Merrilees of Studio Design. Now, I've got a lot of time for Greg because he is passionate about creating really, really, really good-looking websites that, wait for it, actually get great results for their clients. Results like more sales, more inquiry, large lists of prospects to have ongoing communication with, results that grow businesses. He's not about just pretty websites. He makes beautiful looking websites, but they actually convert. Now, Studio Design has custom designed over 2,000 websites for a range of brands, including Bulletproof Coffee and Effortless Swimming, past guest of this podcast, plus some high-profile online marketers, including Perry Marshall, Chris Ducker, Jordan Harbinger. Wow, those guys are no slouches. And Greg does their websites. Plus, he's putting the finishing touches on my new website. Speaking of slouches, hey, he's even designed a website for Yoda from Star Wars. Well, that's almost true. They designed one for Frank Oz, who's the original voice of Yoda, Miss Piggy, and other Muppet characters. Don't you love it? Anyway, this is all about how you can turn your website into one that is high converting. And here's Greg explaining his obsession with websites.
Well, for a start, I am an online marketer, and I just find that online marketing is absolutely fascinating because everything points back to the website, or if it doesn't, it pretty much should, right? And I'm a designer at heart, and I find it fascinating the challenge of designing websites that not only look good, but essentially sort of turn a visitor into an action taker and essentially a client.
Yeah.
And there's a real art and psychological science combined, because every website it should be unique because every business is unique. And
yes.
I like the challenge of finding a custom solution for all of our clients.
So just to be crystal clear here, Greg, you are talking about the idea of a website not only looking beautiful, but actually providing some kind of commercial return on investment for one's troubles?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, this is ridiculous. I don't believe you. You will spend the next 45 minutes proving that is possible because there are a lot of shocking websites out there, and we'll sort of, let's get each other a little bit angry in order for you to then present these 5 compelling sort of insights that turn any non-converting website into a converting website. Before we do that, what's interesting is you and I met, I guess, through design, because way back then, and I'm going to say 10 years ago, you actually hit me up in a very masculine way, Greg, with the offer of doing some T-shirts for Small Business Big Marketing.
We did indeed, yeah. And I mean, a little bit of a backstory for that, which led to that essentially, is that, yeah, we were a T-shirt design business since the year 2000. And look, we went through some challenges. Basically, our business in the rag trade, essentially, we got squeezed out because the retailers went vertical around a decade ago. So that means our clients, who were the wholesalers, were dropping like flies. My wife was also in the wholesale game for the clothing industry, and therefore she lost her job. And at the time, we had 6 full-time Australian designers in our office. We had an office, don't anymore. We'll talk about that later if you want. But we had a young family as well at the time, and so realistically, I had to pivot big time, or my business was about to go down. So to just get through that transition, I just learned as much as I can. I borrowed $100K as well just to stay afloat, by the way.
Wow.
And so, yeah, we weren't in a good position, but I found podcasts.
So then you thought you'd hit Timbo up with some free T-shirts and see whether he can turn things around.
Exactly.
Bit of merch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I heard on podcasts saved my business basically. And so I heard on one podcast the host saying that their logos sucked. And I thought, oh, okay, here's an opportunity. So I designed them a logo and sent it to them on a T-shirt because that's all I knew, kind of thing. Basically the way I think of a logo, if it looks good on a T-shirt, it's going to look good. So I sent it to them and they absolutely loved it. And then I ended up hiring one of the hosts, James Ramco, as my business coach. I think you know him because you taught him how to podcast.
Uh-huh.
And anyway, he said, look, that works so well for me. Why not send it to other, podcast hosts like Timbo Reid and a whole bunch of others like John Lee Dumas and a whole bunch of, American podcasters.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's when I sent you the T-shirt design. And what was your reaction?
Yeah, it was awesome, mate. And back then, online T-shirts and ordering all that was pretty new. It's sort of a dime a dozen these days. But you've been in it for a very long time, buddy. And getting back to websites, on behalf of the small business owner that you work for and I sort of represent, if you like, and you are one yourself, the website is a funny thing. And I'm being a generalist here, but some think it's the silver bullet, get the website up and everything will be okay.
Yep.
Some many get incredibly frustrated by the process of having to go, okay, well, I need a website. Now I've got to pull all the content, the copy, the videos, the pictures, all that kind of stuff together. And then you finally hand it over and you push the green button to go live. And it's like, many think that's the end. That process is over. You and I know that's only the start.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole bloody science of someone arriving at your website, a business's website, and being taken on a journey to either generate an inquiry, build a list, or buy. And there's just so much going on. You're nodding your head and laughing.
There is a lot going on. Yeah, it's incredible how much is going on. And every business is unique, so you have to approach it in a unique way for that particular business. And they might have different goals and outcomes that they want from their website. And look, to be honest, I see a lot of websites, but I know for a fact that most websites on the web really do suck, right? Like they don't convert at all. They might only just be temporary websites, who knows? But the point is, we like to work with businesses that already have like an offer that kind of converts, or they've got a reputation, etc. And then we like to, figure out what's working, figure out what's not working, and we've got a massive process for that that we sort of went through with you, Timbo, as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not easy to figure that out. But we've come up with a set of principles that help figure that out in any niche, basically.
What you're very good at a number of things, Greg. But and we're going to go through some marketing insights around websites that you're going to share. But somehow, I would also encourage my listeners to look at how you go about marketing your business and what you do. The fact that you've secured an interview on a podcast that has an audience that's 100% relevant to you, that's really smart.
Thank you.
The fact that you have got a wonderful offer, which we'll detail later, but it's a quiz. And it takes business owners through a series of very simple questions that allow them to identify where their website is missing the mark and allows you to identify those points as well. And then you're going to send them a report that says, hey, here's the things that you need to fix and how to fix them. It's just clever, mate. You're embracing this whole helpful marketing concept that I rattle on about in depth. So
well, it's the boomerang effect, essentially, right?
Yeah,
it
is.
Yeah, and I call that leading with value. And that's what I did with the T-shirts as well. I led with value.
Yes.
So I guess for the listener, if you have anything that's unique to your skill set that you can offer to somebody that has an audience to reach that audience, then, think outside of the square. Don't just send them a lead magnet or, you know what I mean? Send them something that's unique to you and you'll cut through the noise, basically.
Lead with value. All right, buddy. Now, we're going to go through these 5 principles that can turn a non-converting website into a converting website in any niche. Just from a mindset point of view to those that are listening, sure, there'll be some business owners that are listening, they're about to get a website. Boy, are they in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
But what do you say to those business owners that have had a website for 1, 2, 5, 10 years? Is what you're about to share still relevant and easy to implement?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, look, we design full websites from scratch, but you'll pick up some tips on this that, in this training, essentially, that you'll realize, oh yeah, I'm not doing that. Or in that checklist that we're putting, to the listeners, it's really 50 things on your website that if you don't have and you turn it into a do have, you're going to get better conversions. So yeah, there's quite a lot there to improve, essentially. And yeah, it doesn't matter what age your website is, you'll probably find, on average, we get about 15 to 20 is an average score out of 50 that most websites, even if they're established businesses, get in this quiz.
Now, Greg, I do represent the small business owner. They're busy enough. You just said there's 50 things they could potentially fix. My head just imploded. Can we just kind of put them back at ease to say, hey, and tell me if I'm wrong here, maybe they do need to do all 50 things, but can they just kind of chip away at this and go, there's 1, mobile friendly, or 2, add some images. This is kind of 1, we can do these things piecemeal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And look, these 50 things are if you have, let's say, products and a checkout, and, we have a whole section of questions on those type of things. But for some businesses, it might just be, I want my phone to ring, right? So you're not going to have sales pages and checkout pages, etc. So, but all these 50 things come down to a set of principles. So, you don't have to have all those 50 things, but the point is, you get all those 50 things right, you're going to have a high converting website for sure.
Okay. And some of them are very rational. Some of them are a little bit more, is the word esoteric? Quite a big word, probably never used before on this podcast. But your first point is understand your audience. Now, before you explain that, I've heard that before, okay? And rightly so. Some cliches are cliches for a reason, right? Because they work. But, any business that doesn't take the time to understand their audience, to understand the problems their audience have that you can solve, have some empathy. How is this prospect or your audience feeling about dealing with your business, your category, all these things? So is that what you mean, and can you sort of build on that?
Yeah, exactly. So realistically, like, a lot of people just assume they understand their audience, but it can be way more powerful if you interview or survey your audience, right? I mean, if you think about, like, when somebody's on your website, they don't really care about you at all initially, right?
No.
They only care about what's in it for me. So, when they're on your website, they're wondering, like, do you have a solution to my problem? How will I benefit from your offer? Do you have proof that your solution works? Does your website look credible and trustworthy? And, like, are you an industry leader and an authority in your space? Like, are you the best at what you do, essentially? And then, potentially, how much is your offer? People are always wondering that. Mm-hmm. And then why should they choose you over your competitors, right? Really, on your website, you want to give them a clear pathway so you can solve their problem and for them to essentially buy from you. So if you think about all those questions, if you think about putting a survey on your website or sending a survey out to your cold list, your clients, or interviewing your best clients, etc., you're going to get some insights around those questions. And once you get those insights, then you put all those things back onto your website so that you're talking to a similar audience, so that when they land on your site, they're going to think that you have a solution to their problem and they should choose you over your competitors.
And I suppose if we were to bring that into real life, out of the virtual world, it's no different to meeting someone. Say you're meeting a prospect for the first time over a coffee. You are going to impress that person by demonstrating a level of understanding of where they're at.
Yes.
And that might have been, for example, face-to-face. You might have checked their LinkedIn profile out before meeting with them. And you can say, hey, I noticed you worked at such and such. I know you studied at such and such. I noticed you got these hobbies. And already that person's going, this business understands me.
Yes.
So no different to a website, because I guess a website, I love that definition of marketing, and there are many. And the one that I love is marketing is what you do when you can't go and see someone. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you go to meet someone, you're going to do your research. You're going to put your best foot forward. You're going to converse with them and have great conversation and try to understand their problems and figure out how you can solve them and offer them elegant solutions. And I guess in a virtual world, that's what your website should be doing.
That's exactly what your website should be doing.
Right.
Yeah, totally. And what we like to do is position like your business as the guide and your customers as the hero. So you really just, when they land there, they really have to feel like, this is why your copywriting is so important, actually. Why, you need to focus on your customers' needs, not yours. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people say, welcome to my website. Well, how boring is that? There's no value in that, right? So instead, your copywriting should be focusing, and your imagery as well, by the way, should reflect the copy and enhance the copy, but really show that you understand their problems and that you have a solution for them, and here's the outcome you can expect, right? There's a quick test you can do on your website, actually, to check if you're positioning, yourself or your customer as the hero, and you can just have a look at the amount of time you write the word I, we, or me, or our, etc., versus you or yours, right? And realistically,
me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And realistically, you should have about 75% of your copy on your website talking about, you, about them, essentially. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But use the words you and not them. Like pretend you're talking directly to 100%. That person.
100%.
Yeah.
I quickly, the introduction to my podcast has remained unchanged for many years, and I quickly credentialise myself because people want to know who you are, who the hell, why should I listen to you? But I very quickly get out of the way, and then I say, but you, so much more importantly, are a motivated business owner. And I sort of, it's very purposeful, that copy. It's like, hey, this is not about me. As much as most listeners think it is about me, and I think it's about me, it's not about me. It's about helping business owners.
Spot on, yeah. I love that intro. And that, the more I learn about copywriting, I'm not a copywriter, but I do love copywriting. And when I listen to that intro, I think, well, he's honed that in.
Copywriting, man. Let's just kind of put a bow on this first point of understanding your audience, because it's all very well for you, the business owner, to understand your audience, and that's going to help in so many ways, much well beyond website copy. It'll help develop your offers, it'll help develop your marketing messaging and all that kind of stuff. Copywriting for me, and I think I represent many listeners, is an absolute pain in the ass. I actually like writing, but I find it creates incredible tension in my body, because it's like, I think I've done too many courses and spoken to too many copywriters to, you've got to do this and you've got to do that, you've got to have a funnel and it's got to lead here and it's got to go there. It's like, oh my God, I'm just not going to write it. But that said, if you can afford a copywriter as a business owner, I would thoroughly encourage them, and you're nodding your head to that point too, because I do this test every now and then when I'm speaking, Greg, to a live audience, which is hands up if you could call a graphic designer right now and have something designed. And probably normally 9 out of 10 in the room put their hand up. Keep your hand up if you could ring a copywriter and have some copy written. And I would say 80% of the hands go down.
Yeah.
Copywriting is an underplayed skill set in the marketing artillery of any business owner. And for what you're talking about in understanding your audience, do the surveys, do the quizzes, get all that information, and then it provides a great brief to the copywriter to then run off and write the website.
Exactly. And, a good copywriter will ask a whole bunch of questions around everything that we've kind of just talked about. So, it's important.
Do you guys provide that service?
No, we don't. We work with copywriting partners. And so, we work closely with them, and if a client needs us to introduce them, then we can for sure. Yeah,
awesome. We're going to move on to point 2, Greg, but just a reminder, and I'm going to get you to explain it shortly, that you have made a really, really generous offer to my listeners. They're not going to find anywhere else to help their websites convert. To that point, brand positioning is your second hot sauce, secret sauce.
Absolutely. It is a hot sauce. You get it right and it'll be delicious.
Yeah. What do you mean by brand positioning?
Yeah, so brand positioning is essentially about how credible and different your brand is in your marketplace, right? It's about how your audience perceives your brand and your offer. It's not just the look and feel, but it does need to reflect, your offer essentially as far as the look and feel. You don't want your website to feel homemade, because people won't think that you're, the best at what you do. But don't get me wrong, if you start a new business, definitely go get a template or do it yourself, because you want to save money. But if you've got a serious business, then invest in having you presented in the best light possible. And yeah, realistically, like if you get your brand positioning right, and after a while, you have like consumer loyalty. Think about the biggest brands in the world. You know, if Apple put out a new product, people will just go and buy it because they got that brand loyalty, and Apple's got that brand positioning that created that. So yeah, I mean, to me, that's what brand positioning is. Yeah, realistically, I mean, it all comes down to like looking at your competitors, studying them, and then like Jay Abraham says, you know, you want to zig when your competitors are zagging, essentially.
And it's also about putting a stake in the ground and saying, hey, listen, this is what we stand for. You know, like for a business needs to sort of, again, define themselves in order for their prospects to go, that business is for me, that business is not for me. And that, you know, that means polarising an audience. I think that's okay because, you know, I say it so many times on this podcast, but try to be everything to everyone and you end up being nothing to no one. So having a clear brand position is really important. And again, you know, you go from being, you know, if you're a plumber, all plumbers' websites look the same. If you're a real estate agent, all real estate agents look the same. It's because they haven't done any work on the brand.
Yep.
You know, they're just doing what everyone else is doing.
I couldn't agree more, yeah. And it is a big mistake. People just think, oh, I'll copy my competitors, right? But they don't know everything about that business. They don't know, you know, what their offer truly is or who their audience truly is. So it comes down again to understanding your audience. And so, yeah, just don't copy your competitors is probably the number one thing. You want to be unique. You want to stand out. You want to be memorable. And yeah, I mean, you never get a second chance at a first impression, right? I hate that cliche, but it's so true. And,
yeah. Well, you've given me a couple of shots, but I appreciate that. Tell me, you know, I think the other thing too, and when you become a client of Greg's business, Studio One Design, and which I am and have been, you go through a process. Greg asks a lot of questions in order to extract the brief. So you don't have to sit there and write the brief yourself. Greg asks a lot of questions, and there are a component, part of those questions are all around branding. Simple things like, you know, why do you do what you do? What do you do? How do you want people to describe your business to others? What's the personality that you're trying to get across? What sets your business apart? Which sometimes is a very difficult question. People go, oh, you know, customer service, you know. But anyway, you work with them to really kind of drill down and clear away all the cloudy bits and get something that's very clear and succinct and very on brand for each and every one of your clients?
Yeah, it's really hard to answer those questions. But yeah, I encourage everybody to study your competitors, because if you can figure out what they're not doing and then fill that gap, that's super powerful.
Next little insight, Greg, into how to design a website to boost conversions in any niche. You've just very broadly labelled marketing strategy.
Marketing strategy.
Can you be more specific, please?
Yeah, so marketing strategy in general, if you think about a cold visitor to your website, so cold in the sense that they haven't interacted with your brand much at all, right? They come to your website, they may have found you through a blog post or through, some social media marketing or something pointing back to your website. And then they come to your website and you need to have a clear path for them. But if they're cold, you can't expect them to buy from you at this point, right? So you need to have some sort of strategy, some sort of marketing funnel, and it could be just 1 or 2 steps, right? But you have to have something that's going to warm up that cold lead, or if they're a warm lead, turn either one of them into a hot lead. So once again, depending on your business model, that could be a range of things. But for a lot of business, it could just be, like you alluded to at the start, it's about building relationships. So people do people, with business with people. So really, it might just be a free kind of strategy call. It's, no obligation, etc. We do that on our website, and that helps a lot.
Is this about giving away something, in exchange for an email address primarily?
Yes.
Is that like a really good starting point?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And again, it's amazing how many businesses don't do this. And, I talk about Greg and, build on this, is that none of us have websites that are Facebook or Instagram where someone's going there literally every 15 seconds. You look at some people, the way they check in, they're going to Facebook every minute of the day, and our websites aren't like that.
Yeah.
People may come to our website once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times if it's a pretty good quality website. After that, we're not going to see them again. So it's sort of incumbent upon us as the website owner to say, excuse me, can I have your email address in exchange for some high quality content that I've produced that's going to be of value to you in some way? And then now we can have an ongoing conversation.
There you go. Exactly right. I see people saying, sign up for my newsletter. Well, nobody wants more crap in their inbox, right? But if you give them something of, like you said, of value in return for an email, they're going to be far more likely, I should say, to give you that email address. But then it doesn't stop there. Another mistake I see is people just take their, let's say a lead magnet to grab an email address to a thank you page. And on the thank you page, it just says, hey, thanks for blah, blah, blah. And that's it, right? But that is
what a lost opportunity.
Yes, exactly. It's a golden opportunity to build more trust. And, we recommend having a face-to-camera video saying, hey, thanks for, let's say it was a PDF download or whatever, downloading the PDF. You're really going to love point number 7 or whatever it is. So that, they get them a little bit intrigued to go and actually read the thing instead of the ebook going to an ebook graveyard. And then realistically, you want to say, hey, look, if you have this type of problem, you want to talk, it's kind of like what we call a spin selling solution, where is based on a book by Neil Rackham called Spin Selling, but it's really what you want to let them know that you understand the situation they're in, the problem that they have, the implication if they don't address the cause of the problem, and the need, which is your solution. And that's when you offer them something else for free. The next step in your funnel might be to spend more time with you in the form of a webinar or a call, etc.
I want to give listeners an example of this right now.
Yep.
And so I'm going to suggest they go to the link studio1design.com/Timbo. The one is a number one. Now, there's two really compelling reasons to go there. One is Greg has made this ridiculously solid offer only found there to business owners and listeners of this show to help you get your website into shape. I'll get you to touch on that, Greg. But if you do go to studio1design.com/Timbo, have a look at the email sequence you enter, because Greg will email you. He's not going to spam you, but here's the thing. Each and every email you get from Greg is incredibly helpful. I honestly, mate, I look forward to your emails that I know I'm in an automated sequence.
Yeah.
But they're helpful. And as you say, lead with value.
Thank you.
And every single one of your emails is not like, hey, buy from me, I've got a special on. It is.
We never do that.
No, you don't. And there's something, honestly, sometimes you just got to look and investigate other people's marketing and pull it apart and see how it applies to yours. So, look at it from that point of view. Greg, just that offer, don't go into too much detail because I want to get stuck into these insights, but it is very generous. What are you offering at studio1design.com/Timbo?
Yeah, well, for a start, it is those 50 things. So it's a quiz, right? It has like 7 steps to go through the range of questions, but realistically, that will help you identify the problems that are holding your website back. So that's number one. But 2, if you do end up wanting us to help you solve that problem and design a new website for you, we're going to design all of your social media banners to match your new website design as a bonus.
For free. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys are good designers. I've played your trumpet. How much you pay me? No. Honestly, because you are rare. I have found over my journey, and maybe I haven't looked hard enough, but I found good website designers who can't develop. I found good developers who can't design.
Yeah.
And a mix of both. And you have got it right because you've got a team that covers both. So to that point, and I reckon this next one's really important. Number 4, psychologically influence those who come to your website. And you reference Robert Cialdini's book, Influence, here. Now, this is to me, it's a complete mind F, if you know what the F stands for. I'm not going to swear anymore on this podcast because this is where it gets really like, wow, there's a lot you can do to influence people who arrive at your website. So just sort of touch on this whole psychologically influencing.
Absolutely. And if you think about your website, if you met somebody, one person at a time, it takes forever to reach them and get the message across. So, realistically, the beauty of having a website is that you can talk to multiple people at once, even while you're asleep. So basically what we want to do is talk to them on a psychological level. Well, it's not just talk to them, but it's have things on your website that appeal to them. And everybody's kind of different. They have different things to appeal to them, that they'll find appealing. Some people are logical thinkers. Some people think more emotionally, etc. And so what we're trying to do here, based on this book, Robert Cialdini's Principles of Persuasion, called Influence, he's got like 7 principles. And the first one is reciprocity, which is really like we've just discussed. It's the boomerang effect. People feel obliged to repay you like a favor, etc., if you've already given them, some free content. And that could be a blog post, it could be free video training, it could be a free seat, free podcast, or whatever the case is, right? Some sort of free offer. So the podcast and let's say YouTube, etc., that's all good to build an audience, but realistically, you want to get that email address to take them to the next level. And 2 is authority. So the principle 2 is authority, which is really, we inherently trust authority figures. You think about police or whatever the case is. And so what we want to do is, show these sort of trust signals on your website to position you as the authority in your niche. And that might just be from sharing your knowledge in the form of a blog or whatever. But also the design, if you have a professional design, that can help. But using professional photos and videos and just taking everything within, the perceived authority to the next level. Think about books that you've written or awards that you've won, or anything that's going
talks that you've given, whatever it is, and there'll be people there'll be business owners here. I haven't got any of that. I've not written a book. I've not done this. There will be things that you can use to demonstrate that you are an opinion leader, a thought leader, an authoritarian.
Yeah,
the right word. No, someone of authority in your niche.
Even
back yourself.
If you're a tradesperson, just a photo of you with your van, like all dressed professionally, a professional logo on your shirt. It's going to help you look professional.
So then the other parts of influence, well, there's obviously social proof. That's an obvious one. What's liking mean?
Liking, so realistically, it's about the principle of when somebody likes you, right, they're more likely to be persuaded by you. And so therefore, when you interact with people on social media, just make sure you comment and in your videos come across as likable. Put your personality out there. Some people might hate it, but you're going to find some people will love it.
That's right. A lot of this stuff, what I love about it in the context of the small business owner, Greg, is that this stuff done well, even half well, makes you look a lot bigger than you are.
Yes.
And that's what's beautiful about the marketing landscape these days, is that it allows us small business guys and girls to punch above our weight, if you like. Yeah. And consistency is just one of those things. Look at Nike, McDonald's, Apple, everything's consistent. The same logo, the same colours, the same font, the same photographer, the same images, the same, and that doesn't cost any more, right? It's just a theory that you need to know. And so, being consistent in the way you present it, again, that's what Studio One Design is good at. Every page of your website is going to be coming from the same songbook, so to speak.
Thank you. But also not just the look and feel, but your marketing messaging. Be consistent with all of your touch points, right?
Stop making them up. Stop trying to make it up each time. Yes. Make it up once and get it out there.
Yes, exactly. And having like being consistent with your values as well can be really important throughout all your blog posts. You might blog on some sort of news article, but you got your point of view on it, and people will resonate with that point of view.
Last couple of points around building influence, scarcity and influence, scarcity and unity, I should say.
Yeah, so scarcity is really the principle where people believe, if there's a short supply, they generally want more. So that's part of it, limited seats or, limited stock or whatever the case is, right? But there's another element of scarcity that he talks about in the book, that you think about what's unique about your business. If you can just show what's scarce about, like, why people should choose you, put that into your headline, and that can be quite powerful from a scarcity perspective as well, because people can't get that anywhere else.
A good copywriter will do that, and it's that old theory of you want what you can't have. So it's not making stuff up, but not again making it. Who did I interview recently who talked about trust hurdles? Adam Schwab, who owns Luxury Escapes.
Oh yeah,
he talked about they've worked very, very hard at creating trust hurdles on the Luxury Escapes website, where people, every time, and a hurdle sounds like a negative thing, but it's just something you need to cross. And again, a lot of these things you talk about, social proof and authority and all that kind of stuff. Last point around influence is unity, Greg. What does that mean?
Yep. So this is the newest principle he added to the book, and it's because so many businesses now have built a community around their brand. And the reason people do that is because the community want to feel connected with like-minded people and a similar, belief of whatever they believe in. It might be a religious belief, it might be a sporting team, a race, a nationality. I mean, it could be music, could be any type of belief system. There's a lot of kind of crypto, discords and things like that have a lot of unity. But yeah, so he's added this principle because it can be a really good place to build trust with your community before you then offer something else.
Yeah, got it. Love it. Okay. Now, studio1design.com/Timbo is where you are going to find Greg and that incredible offer that he's making to those who want to improve their website conversion. Point 5, Greg, conversion-focused design. This is where the science hits the road, isn't it? Where you are taking people on a journey.
Exactly. So you understand all these principles, right? And then you've got all this information. It's like, right, how do we put it on the website? And that's where a good design comes in from a visual hierarchy point of view, where the copy is the hero, the design around it needs to support the copy, but then all of the other like trust building psychological drivers and elements need to be in the right positions as well, at the right place on the right pages. For instance, we put social proof on every single page because realistically every page of your website is a page of your marketing strategy. So always have a call to action 100%. On every page as well. A lot of people miss that because you don't know which page people are going to come into. So you want to give them a path no matter where they are for them to end up into a path that's going to help solve their problem. Quizzes can be quite...
Can I just add to that and hold your thought, because what you just said is so important in building a list in particular. So 2 points there. One is we seem to always direct people to the homepage of our website because it's like the front door, which is it's not. Mm-hmm. It's actually not. It's a door in, and it's a popular door in because people share that link the most.
True.
And on that page, if the website's any good, it has got some way of collecting an email address in exchange for some kind of freemium, as we call it, a video or an ebook or whatever it may be.
Yep.
However, what if then people go and look at another 5, 6, 7 pages and they never come back to the homepage? You still want to have that email capture form on other pages. You still want to have that social proof. So I guess your point is really important. Like, just don't cram the homepage with anything, because if your website's 100 pages long, that's 100 doors into your website. So make sure every door counts.
Yes, that's exactly right. I mean, we have marketing funnels that, that have lead magnets and things like that we don't send people to the homepage. And so realistically, you could put a quiz to cater to the cold, warm and hot visitors, in the sense that they click on a Get Started Now button, for instance, and in there, which will have good copy before the button to entice them to click on the button, but in there, based on their situation, you could ask a few questions about their situation, and then based on that, you could send them to a free PDF lead magnet or a free, coaching call, or, something that's relevant to where they're at in their mind, essentially.
Greg, they're great 5 insights, buddy, into high converting websites. There's many more.
Yeah,
many
this
more.
is a good overview.
Again, I'm so into the mindset of the business owner versus what they can do in terms of picking up tools, because the tools, they're sort of easy. Like, I need a website, I need to be on Twitter, I need to be doing more networking. They're easy decisions to make, but it's what you're going to put, in your case, on that website. It's the way you're going to structure that website, and that's where I think this stuff gets really exciting. A question that I didn't tell you I was going to ask, Greg, but
that's okay.
I'm interested in some of your clients' success stories in terms of, don't take us through, not in detail, but in working with Studio One Design, you must see some terrible websites come to you. What have you?
Yeah.
Tell us a couple of turnaround stories.
Yeah, well, they're not. So, for instance, okay, there's one, have a look at saxschoolonline.com, right? This is an Aussie that's sort of set up in the UK for the last decade or thereabouts, and he had a website that was converting well. He's got literally, 75,000 YouTube subscribers. That's where he built his audience, right? So it's 8.6 million YouTube views. And he had a website that he designed himself, and he was reluctant to give it up and hand it over to somebody else. And so, since we introduced him to our copywriting partner as well, since, we strategized and designed his website and it went live, he said over the past 12 months, combined with new copywriting, has helped increase our conversions for the new members joining SAC School. We have added over 1,000 new students to our paid membership community in the past 12 months, and the rate of uptake in our free introductory offer has helped our mailing list grow by 25,000 people. He said it was the best decision I could have made for my business because we did such a good job.
Oh, bless him. Did you write that testimonial for him and get him to sign it?
No, he wrote it.
Hey,
I've just read it.
Come on, honesty on this show, please.
I love it. Now, if you go to studio1design.com/results, there's 100 or so there.
Again, is such a great marketer. Look at Greg's marketing. Again, studio1 with a number 1design.com/Timbo. If you don't even use him, just pull apart his marketing because it's bloody genius. But if you were to use you, Greg, and I know you don't have a price list as such because asking how much a website is sort of asking how long is a piece of string. However, just to finish up, mate, I hear some horror stories as I travel around speaking at conferences and speaking to business owners.
Yeah.
I've heard stories of 20, 30, 50 grand being spent.
It's not
needed. But it happens a lot, too often. Little business owners where, where did you even get 40 grand to build a website that you didn't need?
Yeah.
What's a reasonable sort of ballpark to expect in having a website design? I know that's an unreasonable question. But
No, it's fine, yeah. I mean, I think if you allowed $10,000, you would get something that is designed to give you the best chance of conversions. And you think about putting that cost over the next 5-10 years, it's pretty good value. But yeah, I mean, look, you can pay a lot more. I don't think you're going to get a lot better value. I think you might be just paying for somebody's office. We don't have an office. We have a virtual team, 28 people now. And we all work from home, so we don't have all the overhead. So we, pass on pretty good value.
That's awesome, man. 28 staff. Well done to you.
Thank you.
The future of the website, Greg? You got a crystal ball there, mate? Is it going away anytime soon?
Well, no. I mean, even if you think about the Web3 space, right, which is, like anything to do with crypto or virtual, or whatever, or augmented reality, etc. If you go to how do you start? You need to start with a website, right? Now, even if their websites end up being within the metaverse or whatever, for us, like if I think back, being in business for 20 years, I've had to pivot so much that even if we had to pivot again, it would be the same principles that we've just talked about on this podcast, where you would use those same principles in a new, metaverse platform, whatever. But at the moment, all of those metaverse type of Web3 solutions have a 2D old school website to help promote it.
Going nowhere soon. Awesome, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Greg Merrilees, Studio One Design, Website Ninja, thank you for sharing on the Small Business Big Marketing podcast.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Timbo, so much for having me.
Well, there you go, team. Greg Merrilees, one of Australia's leading website creators. You will find links to all the resources he shared over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/581. And I really encourage you to take the quiz over at Studio One Design. That's with a number 1, studio1design.com/Timbo to get crystal clear on where the quick wins are for your precious website. Now, here's my top 3 attention grabbers from that chat with Greg. Attention grabber number 1. I just love his passion for the humble website. He is literally all in. He's got such a great business. It's very specialised. He's a great marketer, so go and check out his website. But he's just all in on helping you, the website owner, get a better one. And I love that. Attention grabber number 2. I love his commitment to leading with value in all aspects of his marketing communications. Remember, your prospects only listen to one radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me? So lead with value. Be helpful. That's what it's all about. Attention grabber number 3. I love Greg's 5 tips, especially the one around conversion-focused design. This is given nowhere near enough attention by website owners and designers during the critical design phase. It's all very well to have a website that looks beautiful and show your family and friends, look at my website. But hey, if it doesn't lead people on a journey from discovery to inquiry to possibly a sale, then the website It's pretty much useless. It's just art. That's what grabbed my attention. I would love to know what grabbed yours. Give me a buzz. Small Business Big Marketing Hotline is where it's at. 0480 015 150, and let me know what's on your marketing mind, just like listener Aaron did.
G'day, Timbo. Hope you're doing well. Just wanted to say thank you for the one-on-one coaching sessions earlier this year. They've really helped lay the foundations for the business and help us head in the right direction. Also want to say, mate, just thanks for having your podcast. It's bloody awesome. I love listening to it every week. It's all anyone really needs to get their marketing going in the right direction. Also, we've got our new website going. Love for you to have a look and let us know your thoughts. mulberry.com.au. That's spelled mulbury.com.au. Hope you're well, mate. Have a great Christmas. Speak soon. Cheers.
Hey, thank you so much, Aaron. You are a good fellow. Wow, your podcast is all anyone ever needs. Thanks, buddy. That's like possibly the best testimonial I've ever received. I'm going to be shouting that from the rooftops. I might get a skywriter. They still exist? Skywriting? Be a good marketing opportunity, bit of guerrilla marketing. Hey, I did coach Aaron earlier this year, and he was a perfect student, I've got to say. Curious about marketing, keen for ideas, ready to implement, and did implement. He is a listener and a business owner that respects the power of marketing. Thank you again, Aaron, and wish you all the best with Mulberry, which is an awesome business if you are looking for recycled timber frames. Hey, everyone else, give me a buzz, 0480 015 150, and tell me what's on your marketing mind. Next episode, we are joined by a podcast interview scheduling expert, and together we are going to show you how and why you need to get on other people's podcasts next year. I want you to make it a marketing strategy for 2021, and we're going to show you how. If you're ready to create some helpful marketing, and remember, it's all about leading with value, grab a copy of my book, The Boomerang Effect, over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. And if you're loving the Small Business Big Marketing podcast, then you will find 580 more episodes on your favourite podcast app. As has been the case for the past 12 years, it's been me, little old me, Timbo Reid at the helm. The pots and pans were banged together by Muso Lockie Dolly, and what a muso he is. And then the chaos is made less chaotic by producer Romy Sher. Until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. May your marketing be the absolute best marketing. Bye for now.